Okay, so welcome to the video, guys. Today we're going to be going over the Kuva Karak. In this series, I like to take weapons and test them on their own merits, meaning I don't like to mix them with Warframe abilities or getting kills with the Warframe or using other ways to get statuses. I just like to test the weapons themselves. So let's look at the build here. So the Kuva Karak is a primary weapon. It's an assault rifle. It doesn't really have anything unique about it. Because it's a Kuva weapon, it does have a progenitor that you can get, and I would suggest the progenitor for this weapon be Toxin. And the reason for that is the best general element in the game is viral, and for Whispers content, which is the newest content, the best element in the game is corrosive. And by picking a Toxin progenitor, you have access to both of those. So to get viral, all I have to do is put a cold mod on here. If you don't have the primed cryo rounds, you can just put whatever 60/60 or the 90 mod on. Or if you want corrosive, you just put an electric on there and you have corrosive. So for progenitor, Toxin. Then we're going to go with Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot. Galvanized Scope to increase critical chance. Serration for flat damage. This is also our flex slot for a Riven when we get one, if we get one. There's also other options for this slot that I'll go over afterwards. Prime Shred for fire rate and punch through. Critical Delay and Vital Sense for crit chance and crit damage. And Bladed Rounds for more crit damage. You have to be aiming in for this to take effect, but we're going to be aiming in for all of our kills anyway because of Galvanized Scope. Primed Rifle Ammo Mutation, just to give you a little bit more ammo. This weapon doesn't have a horrible ammo pool, but if you're going to use it as your primary damage source, you probably will have ammo issues after some time. So Primed Rifle Ammo Mutation helps with that quite a bit. Primary Deadhead, just because you're going for headshots, so you increase your headshot damage, and it doesn't really have that long of a reload, so there's really no reason to use Primary Merciless. So in this case, Primary Deadhead wins out. Okay, and now just to go back a bit, and we're going to talk about this Serration slot here. Again, this is our flex slot. So if you don't want to think about it too hard, you could just plop Serration in here, and it's just a big dumb mod that works all the time. The other options, though, for that slot is going to be Galvanized Aptitude. There are going to be some situations where Galvanized Aptitude is going to do better, and there's going to be some situations where Serration is going to do better. And so, at the end of the day, they're very similar in damage output because of that. And then the other option for that slot is going to be I believe it's this one here. Yep. So it's going to be the 135% critical chance when aiming. So it's kind of like the Bladed Rounds, except instead of crit damage, it's going to be crit chance. I think this is probably the weakest out of the three options. Out of Serration, Galvanized Shot, with Argon and Argon Scope. I think Argon Scope is the weakest out of those three, just because with this build, you're going to be at orange and red crits anyway. So once you are at red crits, Argon Scope literally does nothing. It will let you get to red crits quicker and stay at red crits more comfortably. So it does have that going for it, but I would still probably say Serration or Galvanized Shot over Argon Scope. But that's up to you. It is another option. So we're going to be testing the weapon itself. We're not going to be mixing it with anything else. And so because of that, we're going to be using an Inaros with no Archon shards, no mods or arcanes that affect weapon damage, a pet with no weapon, and no mods that affect weapon damage. What we're going to do is we're going to do a 10-minute Steel Path Kuva survival, just to test this weapon on Trash and Acolytes. And then we're going to take it over to Lua Conjunction and see how far it could take us there. In previous videos, if a weapon was strong enough, I would go like 30 minutes into Lua Conjunction. I think I'll probably cap it out at about 20 minutes now, just because they make for kind of long videos. So we'll see if this can get past that 5-minute mark of the Lua Conjunction, which is the hardest part of it, just because you have the Acolyte and the Thoraxis spawning at the same time, usually. And then once it's past that 5-minute mark, the other 5-minute marks, it really just depends on how bad your air supply is, but the other 5-minute marks are usually a little bit easier. So, if it can get past the first 5-minute, we'll take it to 20 if it can go all the way there, but we'll stop the video at that point. So, but let's bring this into the Kuva Survival first. We'll see how it does against trash enemies. I'm going to cast my 4 to double my armor, and then that'll be the last ability I use. If I do have to use an ammo pad at all, I'll make sure I say it.
Predictable. As expected, Grenier have shut down the environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain your environment or attach data catalysts to begin harvesting.
So Prime Shred is what makes single target primary weapons competitive with AoE weapons. So it is a login reward, Prime Shred. It can be obtained like somewhat early-ish. I want to say it's either at login day 100 or 200. So, it's only in your first few months of Warframe. But it allows the bullets to pass through and hit multiple targets. And that's usually why single target weapons can't really compete with the AoE, just because they can't hit multiple targets. But with Prime Shred, helps it out quite a bit. Alright, and I am at max stacks here, so I may have misremembered and thought this was a orange and red crit build. This is more of like a yellow and orange crit build. So Argon Scope would be a viable option. I think it would be about the same tier though as the other 2 weapons, but it's a little bit more viable than I had originally said. Just because I thought this would be orange and red, but it's more yellow and orange. But regardless, that slot is your flex slot. So, if you want to be, anal about what goes there, you can, be very careful in what you put there, or you could just, put Serration, Argon Scope, or Galvanized Shot, and whenever you get a Riven, just replace it. So we're going to head over to the first set of life supports here, probably pop 1 or 2 of them. I hate this part of the map because I get lost in it all the time. like the Kuva Karak a lot. It feels very good. It's like one of the best feeling single target assault rifles in the game. It's definitely not S tier, but I would say it's probably average or above average tier of a weapon to use. Now, of course, with Prime Shred, if you really want to take advantage of Prime Shred, you're going to want to be kind of farming in hallways. Just because that'll give you the most damage potential. Anywhere where enemies can kind of line up together. So we should be getting the first Acolyte somewhat soon here. They kind of have a wide spawn timer. I believe it's like 3 to 8 minutes they can spawn in, so we might have a late Acolyte this time. Here he comes. Misery. So this doesn't do amazing damage to the Acolytes, but it does do consistent small damage to the Acolyte. So it's definitely not the best, but it's okay. There are single target assault rifles that are way worse than the Kuva Karak. So the Kuva Karak, as far as Acolyte damage goes, for single target assault rifles is pretty decent. But compared to other weapon types in the game, though, there are other weapon types that straight up, you know, 1 or 2 shot the Acolytes. So I'm actually going to run real quick to a life support, just so I don't screw this up here. And then we can run back and kill the Acolyte. Or he might just follow us here. Let's see if we can find Misery. I think that's him up there. That is. There he is. Just gonna kind of face tank him here. Yeah, so putting on Argon Scope, you know, looking at these crits here, I think when I'm at max stacks, they're mostly orange with a few yellows. So putting on Argon Scope would either put you at full oranges, or it might get you into orange and some reds. I don't think it would put you in full red, but it could. So we're almost at the 10-minute mark here. I'm going to hit another life support. At the 10-minute mark, we'll see where the kills are at, and then we'll wait for the second Acolyte to spawn, just so we can get another view on the damage of the Acolyte, especially since I kind of had to leave halfway through the other one.
You're running out of time. Consider extraction.
Head to this next life support.
Look what our Tenno operative just found. They could not do this without you.
So at 10 minutes, we're at 410 kills, which is, it's an okay amount. It's not amazing, but I didn't think this weapon was going to be S tier, so. But you know, for a decent, average, good steel path weapon, it's decent and average. So the first one came at 6 minutes. I'm going to guess the second one probably at 12, almost 12 exactly. There he is. It's Mania, of course. I think he's the one with the Zephyr bubble, so I don't know if we'll be able to fully test this on him. I think as soon as he puts that Zephyr bubble up, we won't be able to hit him. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe he's not the Zephyr one. I get them confused sometimes.
Extraction is ready.
I think this little jester is just going to stay with me forever. He's going to be my little friend on my shoulder. I am getting ragdolled over and over again. Let's see if I can pull him down here. I'm bringing this guy all the way to extraction, this Jester. Where are you, buddy? Where did you go? There you are, behind me. This is the most painful Acolyte fight ever. Oh my goodness. There we go. Rest in pepperonis. I am running to extraction. Bringing my friend with me. Oh, I thought he fell off. Awesome.
You exist to strike. You strike to win. The lesson ends.
Okay, so next we're going to do the Lua Conjunction Survival. We're going to see how far this guy can get us through Lua Conjunction. Going to do Circulus. Going to start at 180 to 200, so the enemy is going to be a lot stronger. And it's also going to be a mix of enemies, so it's not just going to be straight Grineers. And that 5-minute mark is where the Acolyte and the... You know, the Acolyte is kind of random, but it's usually at about 5 minutes. So at 5 minutes, the Thraxes spawn, and usually you still have the Acolyte up, or he spawns at about the same time. So that first 5-minute mark is usually the hardest.
Your weapons make music, and the enemy calls for a song.
So we'll do that. I'm going to cast my 4 to double my armor, and that'll be the last time I use an ability. If I have to use an ammo pad, I'll make sure I say it. Kind of working my way backwards into the life support room. Just making sure I pick up all the little yellow life supports.
All manner of Oricon technology may work here too for circulating capacity. If you have a necromancer,
Going to try to carefully manage the life supports just because that's usually the biggest failure on solo Lua Conjunction. At least with this series, you know, with using Warframe abilities, you can like nuke the entire room really, but testing weapons themselves, especially the weaker weapons, you know, they might not kill quick enough, or they might struggle to kill the Thoraxes at 5 minutes, and so you just run out of life support super quickly. So I'm going to try to be very mindful about using life supports. I'm going to use them when I'm at you know, about 70 or less. That way I get full effect of it. I'm going to try to stay near them. That way when the Thoraxes spawn, I can fight near a life support if I need to hit it. But sometimes a group of life supports will spawn very far away, and it takes the enemies a long time to path over to you. So at the 5-minute mark, our focus is going to be the Thoraxes. If we, you know, we get Thoraxes and Acolytes at the same time, we'll do Thoraxes first, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be sucking our life support. The Acolyte can just kind of stay up if we need to. Some of them are annoying to keep up, like Malice is kind of annoying to keep up because he keeps rebubbling you, and you know you keep putting yourself at risk of killing yourself by having Malice up. But okay, so we have one life support available next to us. I'm gonna try to get some small ones here, and if I get to be under 70 before, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this one, and we're gonna get Thoraxes. Thorax looks like he's the lowest. I'm going to focus on him. Try to get as many headshots as possible. Also losing my stacks because I haven't been killing the little guys. So just try to get a few stacks from the small guys. Switch over to the big guy again. We got one down. Violence. I'm actually going to head over to the life supports here. I'll probably have to hit 2 of them by the time I get there. And I'm also kind of hoping that the enemies Congo line to me pretty quickly, so I can start working. Oh, that's not going to be good. He's going to teleport me, isn't he? On over this way, Violence. I need to be able to get into this room here. It's one pretty safe now. I'm still going to hit the second one. I'm going to immediately head back and head over to where Violence is, which is down this hall. I'm gonna work on the little guys first here. Gotta get some yellow life supports to pop up. Now that we have some spawns coming in here. Violence will be making his way this way anyway. There he is right there. All right. So this weapon made it pretty well through that 5-minute mark. I thought it probably would. I thought it might struggle a little bit, which it did. But I did think it was going to make it past the 5-minute mark just because even though it's a single target weapon, like a single target assault rifle, it's one of the stronger ones. So I didn't think it was going to be as bad as something like the Ultranox, which is just horrible. Let's head over to the next set of life supports here. Try to get the enemy's Congo line over. I will probably have to hit this as soon as it spawns. Really need enemies to start spawning in this room here. There's a small life support. I need a few small life supports, not just one. Because we're going to be getting Thraxes in about 30 seconds. Alright, we're at 20% with no life support shown on the maps. This might be the end of the run after this group. There's a life support about to spawn. But we have Thraxes here. This will probably be the end of this run right here. Yep. Okay, so we'll still kill the Thraxes, and if the Acolyte spawns, we'll kill the Acolyte. But the Kuva Karak got us to about 10 minutes in before it failed. Failed in the second set of Thraxes. So, you know, weapons that I would say are bad are going to probably fail on the first 5 minutes. So this isn't a bad weapon, but it's definitely like average. It's an average weapon. Alright, we'll head over to Extraction, and when the Acolyte spawns, probably on our way there, we'll kill the Acolyte. And so we'll conclude our Karak adventure. I'll go over the build one more time too, though, when we go back to Orbiter. Actually, you know what? When you're out of life support, I don't think a Acolyte will spawn. So, yeah, we'll just head over to Extraction then. They stay up if they've spawned before. Okay, and our final kill count for that 10 minutes. See here in stats. Total kills 352. So it was like, what was it? I think like 411 in the Kuva survival. So pretty similar. 411, 352 for it. It's a little bit lower here because we have to spend a lot of that time focusing on Thraxes. So to go over the Kuva Karak one more time here. It's a Kuva weapon, and so you're able to choose a progenitor. And I would suggest the progenitor you choose be Toxin. That way you can switch out freely from viral to corrosive. So viral is the best general element for regular content, and corrosive is the best general element for the new Whispers content, just because enemies are strong against, if not immune to, viral. And then for like specific stuff, if you're doing the new 60 Eyes boss, you would do radiation. I don't know if this is the best 60 Eyes weapon, but you would switch to radiation if you wanted to do that boss. Which you couldn't do with the Toxin progenitor. You would have to switch this around a little bit. But again, this is not the best 60 Eyes weapon, so don't use it for 60 Eyes. Okay. So Galvanized Chamber is going to be our multi-shot mod. Galvanized Scope is going to be for crit chance. Serration is going to be for flat damage, and this is also our flex slot. And I will go over some alternatives to Serration because some people just don't like it. Prime Shred is our fire rate and punch through mod. Critical Delay and Vital Sense is our crit chance and crit damage mod. Bladed Rounds is another crit damage mod. And Primed Cryo Rounds is our cold mod, where it'll mix with the innate, well, not innate, but the progenitor toxin to make viral. If you don't have the Prime Cryo, any kind of cold mod will work. 60-60 would be good too. Prime Rifle Ammo Mutation, just because if you're going to be using this as your primary weapon, you might have some ammo issues. And Primary Deadhead on the Arcane. Now, Serration, the options to switch Serration out. Of course, this is your Riven slot too, so you would take this out and put a Riven there if you needed to, if you had a Riven. You have Galvanized Aptitude as a viable switch out if you want. So in some circumstances, Galvanized Aptitude will do more damage than Serration, and in other circumstances, Serration will do more damage than Aptitude. So they both are very similar to each other. And then I will type in Critical here, and the other option for that slot is going to be Argon Scope. So Argon Scope is going to be another crit chance mod. So that the weapon itself, when it's at max stacks, is like orange and yellow crits. With Argon Scope, I'm not 100% sure, but I would reckon you'd probably be at maybe full orange crits, possibly orange and red. I don't think it would put you up to full red crits, but it's a viable option as well. Argon Scope, Galvanized Shot, or Serration are great there. When you get a Riven, though, it's going to replace those anyway. So, if you don't want to think too much about it, you could just put Serration there just because it's a big, dumb mod. You don't have to think too much about it. It's just a little bit extra flat damage. All right. And that was the Kuva Karak. Again, I think it's about an average Steel Path weapon. It's a good average, but it's an average Steel Path weapon. If you pick it up as your first Kuva weapon, don't be too upset about it. So, all right. I'm going to be working on the Nell video next. Or Nell Prime, rather. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much.